What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Alen Babic versus Eric Molina, and this is going to be an 8-rounder in the heavyweight division, and this fight is going to be Saturday, October 30th, from the O2 Arena in London, England, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on DAZN, and to get into both fighters' resumes, Alen Babic, fighting out of Croatia, holds a record of 8 wins, and no defeats, with all 8 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently not ranked by BoxRec in the heavyweight division, considering he's ranked by the WBC in the Bridgerweight division, and the BoxRec does not have Bridgerweight rankings. But out of 5 stars, BoxRec has him ranked as a 2.5. And now to list some of his best victories, he has a knockout win over Shondell Winters and a knockout victory over Niall Kennedy. And to get into his opponent's resume, Eric Molina, fighting out of the United States, holds a record of 28 wins, 7 defeats, with 20 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently ranked number 63 by BoxRec in the heavyweight division. And to now list all 7 of his defeats, which have all come by knockout, he has a loss to Ashanti Jordan, Chris Arreola, Deontay Wilder for the WBC heavyweight world title. He has a loss to Anthony Joshua for the IBF heavyweight world title. He also has a loss to Dominic Breazeale, Filip Hrgovic, and Fabio Wardley. And now to list some of his best victories, he has a knockout win over Tomas Adamek and a knockout victory over Rafael Zumbano. And in my opinion, this fight is going to sway in favor of the undefeated, hard-hitting Alen Babic. Babic is outweighed in this fight by like over 30 to 40 pounds. I mean, Molina came into this fight at I believe like 254 or 257 pounds, somewhere around there. Babic came into this fight at like 214 pounds. And both fighters came in shape. Babic, he did put on a bit of mass compared to his last couple fights where he weighed in at like 208 to 209 pounds. But Molina, I mean, he's in far better shape than we saw him against like Hrgovic or Wardley, and I commend him for that because many people were criticizing him leading up to those fights for not being in shape, but here looks like he trained hard for it, and I mean he's been talking a lot of trash leading up to it, and same with Babic. I mean both of these guys have some bad blood going into it, and I mean this is definitely Babic's toughest test by far. Molina being a former world title challenger, I know he is far past his prime, but if it was Molina 4 or 5 years ago, I would probably pick Molina to actually knock out Babic. But Molina now, I mean, in his last couple of fights, he's shown to not have a pretty big heart, considering after he gets hit like once, like a tap behind the head, he just tries to get a DQ or tries to get out of the fight. But here, I mean, he is fighting a guy who is, as I mentioned before, over like 30 pounds lighter than him. So who knows how he will take Babic's shots. Babic has shown that he has power. I mean, he's got all knockout victories, but he hasn't faced someone as big as Molina. I know in his last fight he fought a guy who was like well over like 40 pounds heavier than him. I believe his name was like Mark Bennett, something like that. But that guy, I mean, is not as experienced as Molina. I mean, Molina actually looked good against Fabio Wardley, and in my opinion was winning that fight up until when he was actually able to hurt Wardley. He got too reckless and he left himself open, got countered, and got knocked out right in that same sequence after he hurt Wardley. But here he has to be careful, and if he fights on the outside, he could very well win this fight. But I think that he will at some point get reckless and will get hit on the chin and will most likely just quit. And I don't think he's going to quit as in he's just going to say no mas in his corner, or he's just going to sort of shake his head at the referee and let him stop it if he goes down. I think if he gets knocked down, he's just going to stay down like we saw against Wardley, like we saw against Hrgovic. He's just going to basically show that he is the defeated foe in this fight. And how I see this fight going down, specifically round by round, I think early on Babic will try and knock out Molina early, or should I say like in the earlier rounds he will try and knock him out. I mean, Babic does have that brawling old school style. He does leave his chin open though, and I don't think that he will go far in the sport. I think once he makes a definite step up against a definite prime contender, he will probably get knocked out or lose. But I mean, he's just an entertaining fighter to watch, and he's got a very interesting personality, and he's just I think he's good for the sport. He's a very fun fighter to watch overall. And as I mentioned before, he's got that old school style, loves throwing punches. But I mean, I think this fight should have been a 10-rounder. Really think they made it an 8 rounder just in case Babic got tired for some reason. Because, I mean, he really does throw a lot of punches. And being that he's fighting a guy who's really heavy, really tall, I believe Babic is 6'2", Molina is 6'6", and Molina is far more experienced than any other guy Babic has faced, and far bigger. I know that I mentioned before his last opponent was like 50, or I shouldn't say 50, 40 pounds heavier, 30 pounds heavier. I mean, around the same weight difference, but Molina definitely hits far harder than that opponent and will be throwing punches, and he does have the reach advantage. And if Molina is able to fight on the outside, fight at mid-range, and keep Babic at bay with the jab and the right hand, he could very well win this fight. Like I said before, I don't think Babic is that good, and he leaves his chin open pretty often, and we don't know how he takes power shots. We don't know. So, I mean, it will be very interesting to see how he takes power from a guy even like Molina. Molina does have power in his own right. We saw that when he knocked out Thomas Adamek. I know that was roughly 5 years ago, but still, it shows that he does have some pop in his punches. He was also able to hurt Deontay Wilder in their fight, but he was ultimately stopped there. And Molina, as I mentioned before, he really just needs to fight smart and get out of the way of shots, and he could be good in this fight. He could use his reach, use his experience to his advantage. But Babic, I mean, I think ultimately he will win this fight, and I think it's going to be very similar to the fight with Worley. Not in a sense where Babic is going to box. I think Babic is going to come forward, try for that knockout. He will get it ultimately, but he will have a tough time in there, and he most likely probably will be losing or ahead in a really close fight in the scorecards up until he gets the stoppage win. And I think that stoppage will be when Molina is in. He thinks that he could trade with Babic, and then he gets caught in the chin, goes down, and doesn't get back up, and the referee waves it off. And yeah, this will be a decent win on Babic's resume. I mean, it will definitely be his best victory, considering he's fighting a two-time world title challenger and a veteran in the ring. And I think the stoppage will happen, being that this is an 8 rounder from 4 to 8. So in the second half of this fight, we could definitely see Alen Babic getting the stoppage victory. So overall, I believe that Alen Babic will defeat Eric Molina by knockout, and once again, the stoppage will happen from rounds 4 to rounds 8. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.